A man does not control the world. He controls his mind. When this is understood, not intellectually, but inwardly, he steps into a kind of power that chaos cannot touch. The modern world is saturated with noise, erratic emotions, compulsive stimulation, constant need for validation. Amid that storm, the man who remains calm, disciplined, and emotionally anchored becomes rare. And to the feminine, he is not just a new presence. He is breath itself. Chaos seeks order. The feminine seeks stillness. And the man who cannot be moved, not by praise, not by temptation, not by pressure, becomes the mountain in her storm. He does not chase attention. He does not demand understanding. He does not adjust himself to be seen. Most men are ruled by impulse. They feel before they think. They speak to be noticed. They act from the urge to belong. But the Stoic man is different. He does not follow pressure. He follows principle. His stillness is not apathy, it is authority. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Meditation is not found in peace, but in war, plague, betrayal, loss, and unrest across the empire." In his silence, there was no panic, no begging for mercy, only clarity, only virtue, only control. That control is not just inner strength, it is a signal, and women feel it. It regulates her nervous system. It draws her in. It commands respect, not through dominance, but through unshakable presence. In intimacy, this becomes structure. Women test men not to destroy, but to believe. They press against you, not out of cruelty, but to find your edge. If you break, they retreat. If you stand, they trust. Most men collapse. They lash out. They explain. They chase. They beg. But the Stoic remains still. He breathes. He sees. And he responds on his own terms. That silence is not emptiness. It is weight. And she feels it. It is mystery. It is grounding. It invites surrender. Not to control, but to containment. The man who is emotionally fragile plays games. He needs to be seen. He needs to be reassured. He talks too much, feels too much, explains too much, and in doing so, he reveals chaos. The Stoic man reveals nothing, but becomes a mirror. Through him, she sees her own turbulence. Through him, she desires order. He does not bleed online. He does not justify his wounds. He does not explain his silence. He lives it. And that silence becomes his gravity. He does not try to be mysterious. He simply knows when to stop. And that stopping, when done with intention, becomes tension. It becomes power. Not because he withholds to manipulate, but because he governs what he gives. Presence without overexposure. Emotion without performance. Distance without coldness. That balance is not learned through tactics. It is built through mastery. What makes the Stoic man truly irresistible is not charm, it is emotional sovereignty. He does not orbit her world. He does not fracture when affection is withheld. He does not perform like a street artist, hoping to be seen. He is governed by virtue, not validation. His value is self-generated, and she knows, whether she stays or leaves, he remains unchanged. That unwavering core is what creates polarity. It stirs obsession. She begins to ask, what would it take to earn a man like this? For once, she is not the prize. He is. He is the high-value man she cannot manipulate, cannot predict, cannot forget. He does not seduce through spectacle. He becomes unforgettable through stillness. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The Stoic man does not speak of power. He walks in it. In a world where men either posture or please, his quiet discipline becomes magnetic. If a modern man seeks power, peace, and gravity in love, he must begin not with her, but with himself. The one kingdom that cannot be taken is the inner one. Marcus called it the inner citadel, the origin of masculine strength. You do not become that man through tactics. You become him through a daily ritual of severity. Physical training, self-restraint, silence, and reflection. Each morning is a battlefield, not against the world, but against your own impulses. Imagining adversity in advance is how you forge emotional armor. You rehearse disrespect. You expect betrayal. You anticipate loss and disorder. When it comes, you meet it with stillness. Each evening, you journal, not for display, but for accountability. You examine your conduct, your reactions, your lapses, and your moments of strength. Gossip becomes noise. Distraction becomes poison. You crave what hardens you, what silences you, what makes you real. Through that work, you cultivate what women deeply crave but cannot name: inner solidity. And when conflict arises, with her, with your brothers, or within yourself, you return to the principle. Respond, don't react. The Stoic understands that the gap between stimulus and response is where his power lives. When she raises her voice, he lowers his. When she challenges his values, he does not meet her with fire, but with water. Not to surrender, to contain. Modern men lose relationships and respect, not because they lack words, but because they lack composure. Her outburst is not an attack on his ego. It is a silent invitation to lead. And when he answers with calm resolve, he conquers without saying a word. This is the art of emotional transmutation, turning fire into masculine presence. She feels his weight, not just in body, but in soul. She knows, if the world were to burn, he would not fall. But presence without purpose is performance. A man without direction becomes a display, an empty structure hoping to be filled. The Stoic lives not for attention, but for alignment. He follows reason, order, and a mission beyond being seen. She may orbit him, she may feel the pull of his gravity, but she is never the center, and that's why the pull intensifies. When she realizes she is not the axis of his universe, but part of a vision larger than herself, she wants to matter within it. Most modern men, lacking self-respect, place women above their purpose and lose both. The Stoic flips the game. He does not chase her. He anchors himself in his values, and she is drawn to the gravity of that foundation. There is nothing more alluring than a man who cannot be moved. To hold this rare glow in an age of hyperstimulation, the Stoic must master the art of silence. The digital world rewards noise, reaction, and endless motion. But silence is where clarity lives. Reduce the screen time, detox the dopamine, refuse to be manipulated by digital outrage, algorithmic bait, and attention-based trends. Walk alone, in silence. Bathe in cold water to test your will. Spend time in solitude, not to hide, but to sharpen. A man who can sit still with himself cannot be controlled. He becomes the eye of the storm. And in that silence, people, especially women, return to him. When you speak less, think deeply, and live with restraint, you separate yourself from 99% of men. You become not just attractive, but unforgettable. In true intimacy, the Stoic is not merely a partner. He is the archetype. He listens with depth, touches with intent, speaks with direction. His presence calms her nervous system. His absence lingers in her mind. She craves him not for what he does, but for what he is. In him, she finds the paradox she never knew she was searching for: safety wrapped in danger, softness grounded in unshakable stillness. He awakens her femininity, not by controlling her, but by mastering himself. She becomes curious, then drawn in, then his, because what she feels in his presence cannot be replicated online. It is rare, ancient, sacred. It lives in a man who has mastered himself. If you are distressed by anything external, Marcus Aurelius wrote, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. That is the rule. The Stoic man does not fall to chaos. He redefines it. He does not chase pleasure. He governs it. He does not seek approval. He cultivates respect from within. And because of this, he becomes the deepest longing in the feminine heart. Not because he pleads for love, but because he transcends it. He is sovereign, calm, decisive, unmoved. A man who does not need to be obsessed over, yet is always remembered. Never forget, you are the one in command. To become unbreakable is the rule they never wanted you to know. This is psychological warfare for the masculine mind, a forbidden curriculum of ancient discipline, fused with modern strategy for dominance, influence, and self-rule. And if you want peace, prepare for war.